What's up, guys? Justin Morgan here, and this is part of my Bulgarian training cycle. I don't usually call it a Bulgarian training cycle just because that's not really what it is. The Bulgarian uh, weightlifting program. I don't know if you call it It's not really a program. It's I guess a set of principles where you high frequency, very high intensity, very specific to the lifts. Obviously, what you see me doing here as a weightlifter is not particularly specific to weightlifting. I'm doing more intensity with my pulls, as the video I talked about in some new research and things that have been done recently in the past year on squatting and deadlifting, showing that deadlift really isn't more fatiguing than the squat, which has been the traditional view. So obviously my training's a lot more diverse as a newer weightlifter. I need a little bit more variety, more skill and technique work, where I kind of portion out the lifts, which I guess technically that actually is consistent with the Bulgarian view of training. Bulgarian training cycles is that for newer lifters or younger lifters coming into the sport, they would generally use a lot more variety and use more traditional training practices. And as they reach the higher levels of the sport, that's how we know them as the Bulgarian weightlifting team, is that by the time they got to in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Coach Abajev, that by that point they would begin what we traditionally know as the Bulgarian training philosophy, where it's very high frequency, very high intensity, max out multiple times per day. So I guess in a way you could say that I actually am following something very similar to that, but this is actually the last week that I will be doing that. I've been on this for about 6 weeks now, which is usually the max that lifters will see benefits to their training. And I was thinking about something with that. I'll probably make a video all to this on its own, but as I was talking in the previous video about volume and fatigue dedicated to the squat versus the deadlift, afterwards I kind of remembered and realized that a lot of the research that has been done on higher frequency actually has not shown benefits to the deadlift like it has the squat. So increasing squat frequency has generally resulted in better results all around, in lower body hypertrophy, lower body progress, by increasing frequency. But this hasn't actually been the case with the deadlift, so I probably will need to rethink some of my ideas about how I had been planning to do the next upcoming cycles. So I'll probably continue with my normal training progress. I had wanted this, before I left my high intensity phase, to get my squat back into the 500s. It had gone down, I think I've talked a little bit about this, but it had gone down quite a bit over the past year or so. I think the last time I was squatting in the 500s was probably in December of 2016. Maybe December or January of 2017. And then my squat kind of went down for a while after that. Really all my lifts went down as I've been trying to get into a physician assistant program, which is like a master's of physician studies or a master's of medicine kind of program. Most people know what a physician assistant is, but it's kind of very similar to a doctor, but we're not nearly as educated as physicians typically are. So my undergraduate studies are in dietetics, and then then this will be graduate school to try to be a PA. So that's kind of my goal right now. I'm trying to get into that, but I also really like training. My hobbies are pretty significant. I spend a lot of time with training. I've spent several years now dedicated to strength sports. Initially just general strength and conditioning, then I moved to powerlifting and trained primarily for powerlifting for a few years, and then I moved to strongman competition, and then eventually I'd always been a fan of weightlifting, and just had never really had access to train weightlifting. So since I did train at home, I started looking for how to build like a home platform, and you can see that I did that. I need to kind of redo some of it here because I'm still getting dips in my floor from dropping the weights. So I'm going to put down a few extra layers of plywood and then double up some of that rubber matting that you see me standing on. So I'll add a total of I'll have a 5 layers total between where I drop the weights, the top rubber matting, and where my floor starts. So that should hopefully prevent that from happening. Currently I only have 2 layers, so I'm going to add in an additional 3 layers. And that should pretty much, I hope, take care of problems with getting dips in my floor or, rounded out spots. It also makes it hard to drop the weights because if I don't drop them perfectly in that groove where I have dips in my floor, then the barbell actually goes flying out in front of me, or it, flies back at me and it hits me in the shins, which is, kind of painful. It's not full force, but, it still doesn't feel good. So I've gotten my shins kind of busted up a few times, but that's really about it for this video. You guys can look forward in the next upcoming training cycle. I'll probably be going back to more Norwegian style training where it's more still high frequency, but it's more volume at lower percentages, and usually only like 3 top sets of a given weight per day, and none of them anywhere near failure. So the variations that I'll be using are the squat, the pulse squat, and the front squat, and then of course I'll still be training snatch and clean and jerk several times per week each. So that's it. Looking to make some muscular gains, remain at my current body weight and kind of recomposition. So that's it. You guys take it easy. If you have any video ideas you'd like to hear anything about, or any of my personal perspectives on anything, let me know in the description box or in the comment section below, and I will talk to you guys in that next video.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a soul.